So Tampa Bay got dominated by Florida in round number 1 in 5 games, and this is the second season in a row that they have been eliminated in the very first round after making 3 straight Stanley Cup finals. They are the last dynasty that we have had in the NHL, as of course they made 3 Stanley Cup finals, won 2 of them, also made a Stanley Cup finals in 2015. But as this core is aging and honestly getting worse, they seem to be struggling more and more every single season. But do not worry, do not fear. GM Pasta is here, and he's going to be retooling this team. Same challenge as we did with Toronto. I have 5 years to win a Stanley Cup with this roster. I mean, I should be able to get it done considering it's a pretty good team, and they simulate very well in this game. So without further ado, let's go ahead, take a look at their roster and their contracts and see what we are working with here. So if we take a look at our contracts here, we have a lot of guys who are 90 and plus above. Stammer, Sergachev, Point, Hedman, and Kucherov. The big guy we do need to re-sign is, of course, Steven Stamkos. 1 year left on his deal, but honestly, I'm going to worry about that in the offseason. Also, Matthew Dumba. I guess he just goes by Matt, but Matt is definitely short for Matthew. Regardless, doesn't matter. 84 overall D-man. Honestly, I feel like this team is good enough to compete right away, but I might make a move or two. I don't know if I want to trade Stammer considering he's been the captain for so long. Andrei Vasilevsky, 94 overall. We do not need a goaltender, but maybe I could end up turning a guy like Victor Hedman into a younger asset. Now, I know that I did go after Shea Theodore in my previous rebuild video, but I mean, this is a contract I literally cannot miss. He's making $4.3 million. He's a 90 overall. We can trade Eric Chernak, who's making almost $5 million. I put in a 3rd, a 5th round pick, and a 1st round pick. Let's see if Vegas will do it. Trade rejected. Okay. So I'm also going to be adding in our prospect, Isaac Howard, to the mix here and see if Vegas will take it. Still rejected, so it doesn't look like they want to give up Shea Theodore too much. So instead, we'll be throwing in 2 firsts, a 3rd, Chernak, and Isaac Howard for Shea Theodore, and trade has still been rejected. Okay, I'm moving on, not getting Shea Theodore again. All right, so since we basically have 0 cap space to work with here, I'm going to be rocking with almost the exact same roster. I might add a piece or two with the deadline. Obviously, our bottom 6 is not really the greatest defensively. We do have a very good top 4. Sergachev's a 90, Hedman's a 93. I would like to move him. Probably during the offseason will be a perfect time. And in goal, I'm still going to be rocking with Vasi, who's a 94 overall. And he's only making $8.8 million, 5 more years, so for the entirety of this video. Honestly, this roster is very good, so I don't really think I need to make too many changes. Stammer's definitely going to be a big decision here. 90 overall, I don't know, maybe we can get something back for him. He's making $7.9 million. He's probably going to ask for more than that. Also, if you do enjoy videos just like this, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Also, turn on notifications so you don't miss a single live stream or video that I put out. So here we are at the deadline. I'm not exactly sure if I want to make any moves. We really don't have much room to make any, honestly, with our cap situation. So, I mean, we could go after a guy like Evander Kane, 85 overall, low trade value, only making 4.6. So, do you remember when I said I didn't want to trade Steven Stamkos because he's the heart and soul of the Tampa Bay Lightning? Well, guess what? We're at the trade deadline, and I have changed my mind. Stammer, Watson, Mott, a 3rd round pick and a 1st for Rempe, Lafreniere, and Keandre Miller. Obviously, Laffy and Miller have 2 years left on their deal. Both pretty decent players. We'll see if New York takes it. And they have, for some odd reason, they've gotten older. They did get a 1st round pick in there. We got rid of Stammer, who, I mean, his contract's up at the end of the season. And I know how the computers ask for major deals. So instead of losing him in the offseason for literally nothing, we got back some assets that we can use to either win a Stanley Cup this season or in the future, as Lafreniere and Miller do not need to be re-signed until 2 more years. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it. Obviously, I felt like I wanted to keep Stammer considering he's been here for so long, but this is a business at the end of the day, and we have a challenge to complete. We got to win a Stanley Cup in 5 years. I'm sorry, Stammer. Still a great player. So at the end of my very first season as the GM, we are going to grab the wild card position, 46, 29, and 7, 99 points. Detroit was actually the best in our division with 52 wins for the entire NHL. The Rangers are going to win the President's Trophy, followed by the Red Wings. Boston was up there, Vancouver, and Colorado. Now, surprisingly, Braden Point is going to lead our team in scoring with with only 90 points. Nikita Kucherov only had 31 goals and 82 points, which is a very bad season to his standards. Victor Hedman had 69, Hagel 58, Lafreniere had 16 goals and 55 points. Torelli was okay, as well as Duclair, and Vasi went 36, 23, and 4. 5 shutouts and actually pretty decent stats. Leon Draisaitl is going to lead everybody in scoring with 108 points, followed by Connor McDavid, who had 106, Robertson 105, McKinnon was up there, as well as Cale Makar, Tage Thompson, and Johnny Hockey. Now on the goal side, Matthews is going to lead with 58 on the season, followed by Pasta, who had 51. Tage Thompson also had 51. This was a guy I tried to go after, considering he has a long deal at only $7.1 million, but unfortunately, the money side, we couldn't make it work. Mikko Rantanen had 48, Draisaitl 45, Kaprizov 45 as well. Billy Husso is going to lead in wins for goaltenders with 48, and for shutouts, it's going to go to John Gibson, who had 7. And unfortunately for us, we are going to have to play the Red Wings in round number 1. They were the President's Trophy winners, or they were close to it. They were the best in our division, and conveniently enough, the last time they were in the playoffs was 2015 against the Lightning, who did beat them. So we would end up dominating Detroit in the first round in 4 games, a clean sweep, and now we are in game 7 of round number 2 with the Buffalo Sabres of all teams. So it all comes down to this game. Game 7, we should have the experience advantage over them, considering they've never made the playoffs in like 13 years. Luckily, we did get it done in overtime in game 7, and now we move on to the Toronto Maple Leafs in the conference finals. Who would have ever thought that Toronto would make the conference finals and play Tampa Bay? In the West, we have Vancouver, and the Colorado Avalanche, the final 4. And just like that, in my very first season as the GM of the Tampa Bay Lightning, we have made the Stanley Cup Finals up against Colorado. And in my very first season as the GM of Tampa Bay, we have made the Stanley Cup Finals up against Colorado, who did defeat us 2 seasons ago in 6 games, I believe. So a lot is on the line here as we are fighting for some revenge over Colorado. We obviously dominated Toronto in 5 games. I mean, I don't want to take too much credit considering this team was already built and has very good overalls. All right, so here we are, game 6. We are down 3-2 in the series, and we are down 4-3 in the game. Obviously, the Stanley Cup is in the building, hopefully not losing to the Avs in 6 games again. As we don't have a lot of time left, 2 minutes to go here in the third period. We have to push for some offense. Brandon Hagel in the middle, Braden Point trying to move it over. Great save by Georgiev. Come on, Braden Point doesn't get a great shot off there, honestly. Less than a minute to go. Why did we not pull our goaltender already? Nichushkin over to Rantanen shoots. Easy save from Vasi. No, the bad news is we don't have any time left. One last rush. What are we doing, Chernak? Horrible turnover. And that might do it. There's not a lot of time remaining. Nichushkin, shot on net, rebound. Another great save by Vasi. 5 seconds to go here in the third period. It looks like the Colorado Avalanche history repeats itself, as they are going to defeat us in 5 or actually 6 games in the Stanley Cup Finals, as they are going to win their second Stanley Cup in 3 years. We do not get over the hump. We made the finals, but unfortunately we are going to lose. And the first year of GM Pasta, I wouldn't say is a failure, considering we almost won the Stanley Cup 2 games away. But I mean, we're definitely going to have to make some moves in the offseason to make us slightly better than we were this season, as this was not good enough. This roster was just flat out not good enough. Now in the playoffs, no surprises, Nikita Kucherov was our best player, 12 goals, 27 points. Braden Point was also very good with 13 goals and 26. Hedman had 22. Hagel 20. Lafreniere was okay, I guess, only 1 goal but 16 apples, also a -6. And if we take a look at Vasi here, 13, 6, and 2, he was okay. The goals against are a little bit high, but maybe we were just giving up a lot of shots, considering he's rocking with a .912 save percentage. Leon Draisaitl is going to win the Ted Lindsay, Art Ross, and Hart Trophy. Matthews, the Maurice Richard, the Norris, the Cale Makar, Mikko Rantanen, the Conn Smythe. Schmidt is going to somehow take home the Vezina, and the Selke will go to Sidney Crosby. Now, the good news is we do have a lot of cap space to use in the offseason here if we want to sign a free agent, or of course, we got to re-sign some players. $9.4 million is quite a bit. Matt Dumba, I would like to re-sign him. Duclair, I'm not really sure. I don't care if he walks, honestly. Tanner Jeannot still signed. Calvin DeHaan's okay. Matt Dumba's the only guy I want to re-sign. Alrighty, so here we are in free agency. We have $9.4 million to spend. Unfortunately, Matt Dumba rejected our offer, so he's not coming back unless I offer him another contract. We got some guys here that we can offer deals. I mean, Vladimir Tarasenko is a bit older, but 87 overall sniper. I'm going to offer Vladimir Tarasenko an $8 million deal. Now, the price sounds a little bit high, but that's only for 2 years, and then he's off our book. Of course, we have 9.4 mil in cap space, so we will be able to afford it. We might even be able to pick up a depth option later on as well. And just like that, Tarasenko has accepted our offer. He said he was very excited, or I should say extremely happy to accept our offer. Now, I know this might sound crazy, but Victor Hedman is getting older. He's up to actually a 94 overall at the moment, but Noah Dobson's a 90. He's 24 years old, very young. He also has 1 year left on his deal, so we're probably going to have to pay him close to Victor Hedman's salary, but we also get Adam Pelech, who's also a pretty good defenseman at like an 87 or 85, I think. This trade is going to work money-wise, so let's see if they will take it, and they have. That is okay. Let them feel like they're up, but when we're raising the Stanley Cup at the end of the season, they're going to know what truly hit them. So now on the first line, we are going to be rocking with a Lafreniere, Braden Point, and Kucherov, +5 for the first line, which is good. We also have Cirelli, Tarasenko, and Hagel on the second line, Jeannot, Paul, and Sheary on the fourth, or actually on the third, and our fourth line isn't really the greatest defensively. Now, we did lose Victor Hedman, but luckily Sergachev's up to a 91. Dobson also is up to a 91. We also have Adam Pelech. Our third line D pair is not really the greatest. I mean, we do have an 85 Miller and an 81 Perbix. Still Andrei Vasilevsky, who's a 94, and Jonas Johansson, who's an 81. Also, I will not be renaming a captain until I see one that is fitting. I don't believe Kucherov really is captain material. He's still going to be rocking with an A. Braden Point gets an A. And on D, we have Mikhail Sergachev with an A. Unless we end up picking up a leader that I believe should be the captain. We're just going to go with assistants, as it's hard really to replace Steven Stamkos. So we are at the trade deadline right now. Honestly, our regular season is not going the greatest. We're in a wild card spot at the moment. Okay, so I am comfortable giving up Eric Chernak, a second and a third for Mackenzie Weegar. He's got 7 years left on his deal, so I'm not going to have to re-sign him. He's a decent overall, higher than Chernak. Let's see if it'll go through. Rejected. I might need to add a first-round pick in here. First-round pick, luckily, they do want it from the Lightning, and trade has been accepted. Mackenzie Weegar, welcome to the team, brother. Now, at the end of the season, yet again, we are going to grab the wild card spot. 44, 31, and 7, 95 points. Toronto was actually the best in our division and for the entire NHL as well. New York was very good. The Devils won 53 games. Vancouver, 55 games. And the Buffalo Sabres somehow are very good in this game. Nikita Kucherov is going to have a bounce-back season. 45 goals, 115 points. Braden Point had 99. Lafreniere, 78. Pretty good season by him. Sergachev at 63. Dobson, 57. And Tarasenko, 51. Only 21 goals for an 86 overall sniper is kind of rough. If we take a look at Vasi, 33, 26, and 5. 3 shutouts and not overall the greatest stats. For the entire NHL, Kucherov is going to lead in scoring with 115, followed by Elias Pettersson, who had 109. Nick Suzuki actually had 108. JT Miller was very good. Matthews, Tage Thompson was up there. Nylander and Breadman. For goals, Matthews going to lead with 51, followed by Pasta, who had 47. Caulfield, 47. Also Tage Thompson, 47. We only ended up with one 50-goal scorer for the entire NHL this season. Akira Schmidt is going to lead in wins with 43 for the entire NHL, and for shutouts, it will end up going to Jake Ottinger, who had 6. And in the first round of the playoffs, we are up against the New York Rangers, who do have a very good team, so this is going to be a tough matchup, honestly. I'm hoping we can get out of it, but then we got to face the Devils, who have a good team, or even Carolina. The East right now is a bloodbath. The other side of the bracket's a little bit more easy, honestly, compared to our side. We would end up beating the Rangers in 6 games in the first round, and now we have the Carolina Hurricanes in round number 2. And unfortunately, the Hurricanes are going to end up beating us in 5 games in the second round, so they were by far the better team, which means we are most likely going to have to make more upgrades in the offseason. I mean, we simulate okay, but maybe the moves that I'm making aren't really making us a better team, but just maybe stagnating us. And somehow the Buffalo Sabres are going to go on and win the Stanley Cup, sweeping the Minnesota Wild in the finals. Don't ask me how Buffalo made it this far or even won the Stanley Cup. I have no idea. Now in the playoffs, Nikita Kucherov led our team, 6 goals, 13 points. Braden Point also had 13. Lafreniere 13. Hopefully he can grow. He's up to a 90 now. Noah Dobson had 12. Sergachev 9. And Andrei Vasilevsky was absolutely terrible, almost giving up 4 goals a game. Maybe that is the reason why we did not perform up to standard. We might have to trade Vasi, honestly, while his trade value is high, because he does not simulate well at all in this game. Kucherov is going to take home the Ted Lindsay, Art Ross, and Hart Trophy. Again, the Maurice Richard will go to Matthews. Adam Fox, the Norris. Jeff Skinner is going to win the Conn Smythe. Schmidt, the Vezina, and the Selke will go to Anze Kopitar. So we have $13 million in cap space, and unfortunately for us, we're going to have to re-sign Noah Dobson and Alex Lafreniere, an 89 and a 91 overall, so they're probably asking for a lot of money. So I did end up getting Lafreniere re-signed for $8.7 million. Unfortunately, Noah Dobson's looking for 10 mil, which I mean, we don't have the cap space for. We only have 5.2 million available. I am going to see, though, maybe in the offseason, I'm going to move Brandon Hagel, who makes a lot of money for only an 84 overall. I will get rid of him, dump his cap, and see if we can re-sign Dobson, who's still very young, 25 years old, 91 overall. I would very much like to keep him. So I'm going to dump off Brandon Hagel's contract to the Carolina Hurricanes. Hopefully get a second-round pick back for this Kleber guy. I'm not going to use him whatsoever. I just need to get rid of this contract, honestly. Trade has been rejected. Okay, I'll remove the second-round pick, and trade has been accepted. Now, we should be able to comfortably re-sign Noah Dobson. We have $14 million in cap space, so he's going to be asking for $8.3 million for the Tampa Bay Lightning, but only $8.3 million for every other team. Are you kidding me? Okay. All right, so hear me out here. Andrei Vasilevsky and Isaac Howard for Dustin Wolf, this elite Radulov guy who's already 19 years old and an 80 overall. Dustin Wolf is up to like an 88. He also has 5 years left on his deal, so we're not going to have to re-sign him, and most likely he's going to continue to grow. Vasi, 30 years old, pretty much hit his peak, and he does not simulate well in this game. I have no idea why, but I mean, obviously, I would not do this trade in real life, but NHL 24 does not like Vasilevsky. Let's see if we can do it. Trade accepted as we are wheeling and dealing here in the offseason. Now, can somebody let me know in the comments below? I'm a little bit confused by this. It says we have $14 million in cap space available. Well, can somebody please let me know in the comments what is going on? We have $14 million in cap space, it says, but yet we can only offer Noah Dobson $9.1 million, which I mean is effectively going to lose our bid. I'm sure a team's going to offer him a bigger contract than that. And funny enough, Noah Dobson is going to go sign with the Pittsburgh Penguins. I've not offered me the dollars. Brother, I couldn't offer you any more money, even though I literally cleared up cap space for you. At EA Sports would not allow me to offer you a $10 million contract, even though we had $13 million in cap space. And the Pittsburgh Penguins are also going to steal Mikael Granlund from us as well. I offered him a contract. It doesn't look like he wanted to accept. I don't know what's going on here in Pittsburgh. And thankfully, we are going to end up hitting on Ryan Johansson, who is an 86 overall. We got him signed. All right, so here is a look at the new Tampa Bay Lightning. Obviously, our first line is a very stacked with a 97 Kucherov, 92 Point, and 90 Lafreniere. Second line is not really the greatest. I might end up moving up Cirelli here of a better second line. Our third and fourth line are not great. We literally have Jaromir Jagr on the team. So I don't know. Maybe I destroyed the offense a little bit. Defensively, we're pretty good. I mean, Sergachev's up to a 92, Uyghur's an 87. If we still had goddamn Noah Dobson be at a 91, that'd be great as well. Our third line D pairing's not great, and in goal, we're rocking with a 90 overall Dustin Wolf. There it is. I'm very comfortable trading Vasi for Dustin Wolf. He makes less dollars, more years on his contract. He's also way younger, still a 90 overall, can grow to like a 92, 93 perhaps, depending on how we do in the season. I'm not too worried about a backup. EA Sports telling me that I have $13 million available, but yet I'm only offering 8.7, I think it was. All right, so I think we do need a little bit of more scoring depth here in Tampa Bay. We're at the trade deadline. Jake Gensel's available. $8.2 million. I am going to give up Ryan Johansson, who we literally just recently signed. Not out of want, but more out of need. We're also going to add in a first and a second. And the Carolina Hurricanes luckily have accepted our offer. Now, at the end of season number 3, we again are going to be a wild card team. 43 wins, 31 losses, 8 in overtime, 94 points. Toronto was the best in our division, and Colorado was the best in the entire NHL at 58 wins. Toronto is very good. Buffalo is up there, as well as Florida and the Rangers. Brayden Point is going to lead our team in goals with 41 and points with 95. Kucherov only had 92 and 34 goals. Lafreniere had a big season, 77 points. Cirelli was pretty good. Gensel had an okay year, was a minus 18, but a lot of that could have been Carolina, or it could have been us. I mean, we weren't the greatest team in the world either. Sergachev had a down season, only 49 points. Dustin Wolf, 33, 28, and 7. 4 shutouts, and not really the greatest stats, honestly, but he's definitely going to be a work in progress. Nathan McKinnon is going to lead the league in scoring at 119 points, followed by Quinn Hughes, who had 112. JT Miller had 107. Adam Fox, 106. Suzuki, 105. Tage Thompson was up there. Now, if we take a look at the goal side, Kaprizov's going to score 60. Matthews, 59. Reinhardt, 55. JT Miller, 52. Cole Caulfield, 52. And Tage Thompson, 51. I don't believe our goalies would be anywhere near at the top of the standings here. I don't think Dustin Wolf would be anywhere near the wins or the shutouts for either of them. Spencer Knight had 7 on the season, my God. And in the first round of the playoffs, we are up against the New York Rangers. And there it is. That is our season, folks. The Rangers are going to beat us in 6 games in round number 1, as it seems like we might be getting worse and worse season after season. It could be my choices, honestly, but you already know I'm going to go big for these final 2 years and try to win Tampa Bay another Stanley Cup, as we cannot get it done in year number 1. And of course, the Rangers would go on and win the Stanley Cup, beating Colorado in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals. Nathan McKinnon is going to take home the Ted Lindsay, Art Ross, and Hart Trophy. Kaprizov, the Maurice Richard, the Norris will go to Adam Fox. The Conn Smythe to Artemi Panarin. The Vezina to Hildeby for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And the Selke will go to Sidney Crosby yet again. All right, so the good news is we have $16 million in cap space. Hopefully it actually lets me spend it, as really we only have to re-sign Tarasenko, and he only asked for like 3.1 mil, so we should get that deal done. Everybody else I might let walk here. I might end up getting a good backup goaltender, considering Dustin Wolf has now dropped down to an 88 overall. He was a 90 last season, so... Alright, so we do have $19 million in cap space, but unfortunately, it looks like we're only allowed to spend about 10 of it, as that's the highest I can go for Jack Eichel, so we're going to look for somebody for under $10 million here. Eichel's probably not a guy that we go after. A guy like Marchand's asking for 2 years. He is 38 years old, but he's an 89 overall. Alex Tuch would be another great guy. Might end up offering them both a contract. Maybe Marchand 9.7 for 2 years would be a good deal. For Alex Tuch, he's going to be asking $8.2 million for 4 years, asking for $4.8 million. I'll give him 4.9 for 1 year. Jordan Eberle as well can get a contract. I mean, $4 million. I'll sign him for maybe 3.8 here. I'll offer him. If he doesn't sign, he doesn't sign. Well, it looks like we did sign Brad Marchand, but unfortunately we don't have cap space to afford him. I guess other people signed before him. Alex Tuch has signed with our team, so that's probably why. Ovi, we didn't have enough cap space for him, and Jordan Eberle decided to go to Dallas. So here is our lineup heading into season number 4. Our first line is still stacked. Kucherov is down at a 95 now, so maybe he's falling off at least a little bit. Our second line is good as well with Gensel, Cirelli, and Tuch. Our third line is decent. Radulov's up to an 86. Still very young, only 20 years old, has 2 years left on his deal. Our fourth line is iffy. Defensively, we're okay. Sergachev really carries us at a 92. And if we take a look at our goalie, Dustin Wolf is only an 88, so I guess technically worse than Andrei Vasilevsky. All right, I have no idea if this trade's actually going to go through. Most likely it's not going to, considering Chicago probably won't want to trade Bedard. But he's got 1 year left on his deal, not making a lot of dollars. We also got Kurashev we can pick up for Kucherov, 2 firsts and 2 seconds. Trade rejected. Yeah, I do not think we're going to be able to get Bedard. Instead, I'm looking at Mo Seider and Lucas Raymond. They got years left on their deal. I do have Detroit retaining some salary here. 3 firsts and a second. Will it work? Trade rejected. Again, I might be lowballing the LA Kings here for Quinton Byfield. We gave up Nick Paul a second and 2 firsts. Are they going to do it? Trade rejected. I could end up giving up Alex Tuch here. Remove one of the first round picks. Alex Tuch was a guy who does have trade value a little bit at least. Pretty similar to Quinton Byfield, but now they're going to have to retain salary. We are going to end up having to retain some salary for Alex Tuch here, which I am totally willing to do. I mean, only 3 mil. So let's see if it will go through, and it's still rejected. Totally unwilling. Okay. Instead, I think I'm just going to rock with the current roster that we have right now. There's not really too much flexibility that I have in order to make some deals. I try to make some trades happen, but none of the teams wanted my lowball offers that I gave them. I mean, funny enough, we're at the trade deadline, and I see none other than Victor Hedman. He signed for a $12 million deal. Thank God I did not offer him that. But there's a guy I want to go after. Oliver Wahlstrom, 88 overall, low trade value, 1 year left on his deal. He will obviously be wanting a lot more money, but I think we can make this happen. I'm going to be giving the Islanders a second, a third, and a first. See if they accept it. Rejected. Again, I feel like I'm just getting rejected like I did in high school. Nick Paul will throw you on there for salary reasons. Let's see if they will do it. Honestly, it's not looking too great here. All right, so this is the Hail Mary that I want. A second, third, Nick Paul, and 2 firsts. for Oliver Wahlstrom if they don't take this. There we go. Thank you, God. The New York Islanders have taken that, and we have upgraded our roster for this playoff run. So we are actually going to go ahead and have our best regular season of the video. 53, 24, and 5, 111 points. Buffalo, again, they're a very good team, finishing first in the Atlantic for the entire NHL. It was also Buffalo, but I mean, Tampa, we were right on their heels, only 3 points back, second best in the entire league. GM Pasta has been cooking. Braden Point is going to lead our team, 51 goals and 99 points. Kucherov has kind of trailed off a bit, 33 goals, 89 points. Sergachev, 71. Gensel, only 66, but I mean, he did have 27 goals. Alex Tuck, 58. And Dustin Wolf went 43, 21, and 4. 3 shutouts and pretty good stats. Tage Thompson's going to lead the league in scoring. Actually, it's going to be a 3-way tie between Thompson, Bredman, and Ehlers, but Tage Thompson did have the most goals. Speaking of the most goals, it would go to none other than Austin Matthews with 58, followed by Connor Bedard, who had 57, and Matvey Mishkov, who had 52. And in the first round of the playoffs, we are up against the Detroit Red Wings, who we did beat, I believe, back in year number 1. Thankfully, we do own the Red Wings as we beat them in 5 games in the first round, and now we're up against the Buffalo Sabres. That is crazy, man. The first and second place team in the entire NHL have to square off in round number 2. We ended up squeaking out a Game 7 victory against the Sabres, and now we have the Columbus Blue Jackets in the conference finals. And unfortunately, we would end up losing to the eventual Stanley Cup winning Columbus Blue Jackets as they beat the Blackhawks in 6 games. They also beat us in 6 games as well, which is not great. Now, in the playoffs, Kucherov was very good. 12 goals, 27 points. Braden Point had 24. Lafreniere, 23. Weegar, 15. Thompson's going to win the Ted Lindsay, Art Ross, and Hart Trophy. Matthews, the Maurice Richard, the Norris, the Quinn Hughes. Frolik, the Conn Smythe. Stuart Skinner's going to win the Vezina, and the Selke will go to Robert Thomas. So, in the offseason here, there's only one real guy that we got to re-sign. It is Nikita Kucherov. He's 34 years old, but he's a 95 overall. We do have a ton of cap space to work with, so we should be good. Luckily, they were not asking for too much money. Wahlstrom got signed for $4.6 million, and Kucherov only wanted a 1-year deal, so I gave him $9 million. I was honestly expecting like 10 to 12 range, but luckily we do have some cap space to go all out here in the final season. So in free agency, we really don't have any cap space to sign anybody. It says 16 mil, but we can only offer like 6.2 mil. I tried to get Drake Batherson, he declined, but Dylan Dubé, 86 overall, 28 years old, give him $5 million for 2 seasons. Hopefully he will end up signing with us. Also, Tarasenko, I will give you a $2.2 million deal. So here we go in our final season. Again, our first line really hasn't changed. We still have Tuck, Radulov, who's up to an 88, and Gensel, 89. Our third line is a lot better with Cirelli and Wahlstrom and Dubé. We have a good top 9. Our top pair and D pair is good. Outside of that, our D is pretty rough, honestly. And in goal, we have a 91 Dustin Wolf. So he's the highest overall he's ever been. Defensively, we're not great. Hopefully, I will try to pick up some defensemen at the trade deadline. Hopefully, somebody with low trade value. I mean, a 78, 78, and 78 is not great, but we do have a 93 Sergachev, which is a plus. And I guess since it is the final season, I am going to pick a captain. It's going to be none other than Braden Point. He's been here for a while. Good hard player, works hard. He's a leader, and he is the newest captain of the Tampa Bay Lightning. All right, so we are at the trade deadline right now, and it's not looking too hot. I believe we're second last in our division, so we definitely need an upgrade defensively. Jacob Slavin will be a guy I would like to go after. Kurashev, we already tried getting him. Oh my god, he's making $11 million. No, thank you. So I'm going to give up Jake Gensel, a second and a third for Jacob Slavin from the Carolina Hurricanes, and the trade has been accepted. So Gensel is headed back to Carolina yet again. And unfortunately, the Tampa Bay Lightning had an absolutely awful regular season. 40 wins, 35 losses, 7 in overtime, only 87 points. We were second worst in our division, not even close to making the playoffs. Braden Point did have a pretty good season, I guess. 44 goals, 82 points. Kucherov is pretty much washed at this point. Lafreniere was okay. Radulov was all right. He did have 37 goals, which is impressive. Sergachev, meh. Tuck, meh. And if we take a look at Dustin Wolf, he was not very good, allowing 3 goals against per game. And the Columbus Blue Jackets somehow are going to go on and win another Stanley Cup, this time beating Calgary in 6 games in the finals. As Matthews is pretty much going to take home all the awards. The Norris will go to Quinn Hughes, the Conn Smythe to Kent Johnson, the Vezina to Igor Shesterkin, and the Selke will go to Matty Beniers. And that is going to do it for this video, boys. We have failed the challenge as we did not win Tampa Bay a Stanley Cup within 5 seasons. Obviously, we made the Stanley Cup Finals in year number 1, went to the second round, the first, and then the third round last season. And I mean, this year we didn't even make the playoffs. By far, worst season of all 5. And if I were to redo it, I might have kept the core 4 together a little longer. I mean, I traded Stammer at the deadline, and then I started dealing everybody. Tampa Bay overall had a very good team in year number 1. We made the finals, but we just lost to a better Colorado team. So maybe I should have kept the guys together a little longer. I was a little trade happy in this video, trying to make the best deals possible, and it ultimately costed me. Failed the challenge. It is what it is. Let me know in the comments below what you would like to see next. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, don't be silly. Wrap your willy.